Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. To all of my long-term friends, welcome. Hello, happy weekend. Good to see you again. I'm sure that most of my regulars will be here. For anybody new who's tuning in and they see the title, thumbnail, whatever it's going to be, today I'm basically just going to walk through a simple concept to make a listening room or any kind of living space where you're listening to music or being entertained slightly more entertaining. Around my room already, I have a set of LED lights. It's just a strip of LED lights that turns on and off. No synchronization to music, change of colors, running lights, certain programs. Pretty simple. The curtains are held up by command strips. If I can zoom in my camera here, let me go all the way around. So the command strips are just holding onto the curtain there. Obviously I have a number of them around the room. The speakers and subwoofers are illuminated by jewelry case lights. Let me see if I can get all the way down here on the floor. There you go. So they're just jewelry case lights. They're aimed up at the speakers and the subwoofers. And that's how I get those lights. So what I'm doing today is going to be assembling and installing two stand lights. They're basically about 50 some odd inches tall. They stand up in the corners behind the speakers where they will. There's a little stand on the floor. So I have to assemble those. And I will position and turn them on behind the speakers. Now, I can do this all in one take. I don't mind doing that. If you guys are willing to join me on the process, I can assemble and put these lights together. If I find that it's boring at any point, maybe I'll edit it out. But that's the point of the video. So we're 2 minutes in, and let's just get this started, and I'll show you a bit of the process. I'm going to lower my stand here and flip it around so you can see what's going on. My camera is all over the place today. All right, let's flip this around. So welcome to all my friends. Hopefully the lighting is not so bad for you. The sound should be fine. Sound is not necessarily the point of the video. And what I will do is leave some of the music just going in the background. And I will slowly put together this kit. So the kit came with two sets of hardware. They're identical hardware. There's instructions in the box. If anybody wants to know the name of the product, I don't know if it has a name of the product. There's no brand name. The biggest thing on there is that it's made in China. So that's, yeah. It's just a smart RGB lamp. There's an app control. I'm not going to use the app because the app is going to sync up online, and who knows what the app has built into it for any reason. It's going to be listening to your music through the devices. Then I don't necessarily want to have an app with access to my microphone for that reason. So the legs are metal. You can hear them already. The rest of the pieces are basically plastic, coated plastic. They are numbered, so you can number them top to bottom. So the foam pieces just hold on to them like that. I find that this is a very, very cheap way to do this. I think I did showcase these lights, the same lights, from my living room. If you go back and see the video that I did of my living room, I did an update where you could see all of the lights flashing to the music in the other room. That was basically the same exact product, except now I want them in my 2-channel room because the lights I had in here failed. And I want to do this for this room. Okay, so these are numbered. So I'm going to attach 4 on top of 3, and they slot in like this. There's a matching slot way there, and then this is like a protrusion, and they fit together. So it's an aluminum backing with LED lights in the front. When they clip together, if you can see there on the inside, there are lead wires. No, it's not focusing. Probably not going to focus on there. Anyways, they're lead wires, and when they click together, you will get the connection, the electrical connection that joins the two and continues the electrical signal throughout the entire shaft. Now we have 3. This will be 2. I can still count, that's for sure. There's number 2. The same process, the part that sticks out goes into the slot. And the bottom one's a little bit different. The bottom one has this sort of like feet. This has power on the bottom, and this is also where you put the legs to help it stand up. So they all have this plastic covering. And make sure you have space, because this is actually quite long. Actually starts to look a little bit like a lightsaber. So then we just slip this one in same way. It's a little tight, a little bit of care when you're putting it together, and there we go. This is the whole light assembled, and that was barely even a couple of minutes. The more tricky part is going to be the legs. Now, I haven't actually done this part before because the other ones are installed on my ceiling, and I don't have anywhere that I need to do that. So these ones on one side, there are holes in the metal. You can see in the reflection. So those holes correspond to holes on the bottom, and then in each kit there are a number of screws. Or I should say little tiny little screws. And a small Allen key. So both of these are probably going to take a while. What I'll do is I'll make a cut, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to set them up. But for now, we're going to install these tiny screws over my white carpet so I don't lose them. And the screws will go in just in the bottom using the Allen key that's included. And these should fit right into the slots in the plastic. Now, I don't want to overdo it because these are very small. It's thin metal, it's only plastic. You want to be careful when you're inserting something like this because the threads can strip. You can miss the mark, and there are only a number of screws in the pack. The plastic, if it lets go, then you're going to have problems. You're not going to be able to tighten it. Now, if it does fail completely, I would say just use hot glue. Put a glob of hot glue on there around the foot or whatever, and then push the foot onto the plastic pads. Now, hopefully I don't have to deal with any of that. This seems to be going rather well. Pretty easy to put these in place, if I'm honest. Now, I'm not going to tighten them in all the way because it is just a threaded screw with no head, so it doesn't have a head to stop at the surface. And they're very small. These are like super tiny. I can't even I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to zoom in on there, but they're very small. So this is number 2, and then we'll have another leg to go on there. All right. This weekend, as a side note, is Expona weekend, and unfortunately and sadly, I'm not there this weekend. I wanted to go very badly. A number of my friends are there already. I've been following along with them, and I may do a live video later on to showcase some of their work. A lot of my friends and peers and people at companies make videos while they're at these events, and I like to share in the joy of their efforts, and the companies that have put on a display and showcase anything that's new and interesting. There's a number of brands that I saw that seem to be pretty new. Some new budget options, actually. There's a LAVI or LAIV called Live. They seem to be an electronics manufacturer from either Thailand or Singapore. They have a number of different new options. There's a DAC, a preamp, 2 power amps, or 1 power amp, I should say. They're monoblock, GaNFET monoblocks, which are becoming a lot more popular. Now, I don't know anything about the electronics. The numbers that they post on the website are what I'm going to call a little bit underwhelming. Some of the specs that you'll see from like Orchard Audio and AGD Productions that have GaNFET amps, the numbers showcase all of the performance. Meanwhile, the new company that I saw didn't quite have the same number specifications. Total harmonic distortion was a little high. I'm not really sure why that they would post numbers that are like lower than the full capability of the GaNFET amps. Either that or some of the other numbers are much, much lower for a different reason. Sometimes when testing equipment, oh my goodness, I can't get this last screw out. Sometimes when testing equipment, the tolerances or the numbers or the standard of testing that they're using is a little bit different. So perhaps when I'm looking at the numbers, it's not quite what I think they are for all of them. They're not using the same measurement standard. I assume they all pass the measurement standard, or maybe there's one that is a measurement standard and some of the sites just post more numbers. I'm not really sure. Anyways, LAVI or IV, they are a company from Thailand, Singapore. Basically, I think the amplifiers were 2500, 2700, which is right in line, pretty much competitive with the other brands. The thing about what I noticed is their chassis are very, very good. They're high quality build chassis and seem to be very capable. Now I will show you what the stand looks like. Move all my junk out of the way. So it's a very, very thin stand. You see that it's got the triangular feet there so it can be positioned in the corner. I will now lift and put it in the corner. Essentially, I want them to illuminate behind my speakers. So I will want them in a certain position. And these legs, well, it's not exactly the best camera angle, is it? Doing all this stuff yourself is complicated. I'm trying not to hit my gear. So anyways, the legs are a little bit long. I'm gonna have to put them under the speaker or under the subwoofer somehow, position them in such a way so that it makes sense. But yeah, that's the way that goes. And I will continue and put the other one together, and then instead of boring you with seeing it twice, I'll edit this together and we'll come back and see what they look like when the lights are on. Yes? Cool? All right. We'll be back in a minute. Well, welcome back, friends. I know that was a quick edit for you, but more like 10 minutes for me. Anyways, so I will quickly walk you around the back of the speaker, let you know where the lights are positioned. As you can see from here, basically in the listening position, you can't see them at all. And that's ideal. You basically don't want to see where the lights are positioned in the front. You just want to see the effect. Now, it is sort of daylight still where I am. You can see that I have the moving pink and blue sort of, I don't know what to call it. It's a projector lamp that has like colors, and that illuminates the back wall. It's a lot more visible when the lights go down. Essentially, it's just this thing here. This is projecting the lights into the front of the room. And to accent that, I used to have little lamps on the side, but they have since failed, so I'm not really sure what happened there. So anyways, the lights are basically here. and I've actually removed the 4th section. So now there's only 3 sections because, as you can see, it would have been taller than my speaker just by a little bit. There's about 3 inches, 4 inches of a difference, but it would have stuck up quite a bit more. So I didn't want to be able to see the lights from that side. Now I have a lot of wires and stuff like that all hidden behind here. You could see when I was showing before, this area has got a lot of wires that is just a bit of a mess. My cables are really long for amplifiers that are that close. Custom wires are on the way, sort of idea. But yeah, the LED lights are there. They have remote control. So I will show you the experience after I've added these lights. Now you see the before and a small little hint of my toes there. And then the mirror that really confuses people. So I don't have my wide angle lens on. That is in... Let me put my wide angle lens on my DJI camera. There you go. So now you can see more of the front end. And I will now turn the light on and see what kind of an effect it has for an experience. Now, that's only one color. Of course, you can change whatever color you want. If you like a different kind of hue or vibe in your space, whatever kind of color your system is or whatever the music might be. There is a flicker to music feature, so depending on how loud the music is, talking, whatnot, it will change colors. Not in sync, not the same color at the same time, unfortunately, but it will hear the music and change color based on the volume of the music. It's not frequency specific, it's more just amplitude specific. So they don't flicker at the same time. They're not completely in sync. You'd have to pay a lot of money to have it like synced entirely to the music or wired in, hardwired to the music. But there are a number of different settings. There's solid color cycle and a couple of other sequences. So pretty cool. My go-to is often just white, and then I can lower the intensity or I can brighten it up. Actually quite bright, as you can see. This is the kind of thing I feel like enhances a room or an audio system just a little bit. I mean, I know a lot of people will say like listen with your eyes closed and you can experience the music a little bit better that way. I feel like having a little bit of flair on your system adds a little bit more punch, more vibe. Like if you're not listening completely in the dark and you want to enjoy a little bit more of, you know, what's going on and just a mood lighting, you have friends over, that kind of thing. It doesn't quite run very ambient or, like I said, sync to whatever's going on. But it's, for me, honestly, when I'm just trying to enjoy myself, I'm not being a complete analyst, then this is kind of cool. This sets a vibe for me depending on the tones. So yeah, I don't have a brand name. I apologize. There really isn't anything. It's just a smart RGB LED light. It comes with the stand, the triangular stand underneath. This one was maybe a pack for $40, $60, something like that. I think around $40. Maybe a little bit more. I don't remember if it's a single or double for that price. But anyways, that's the overall idea. You get a different kind of vibe in your space. You want to go red, green, blue. You have all these colors, and then you can do purples of different shades, pinks, or red or orange. I just leave it white because it best suits my room. Or maybe a cool blue suits the vibe of the room and matches the lights on the ceiling. So anyhow, that's enough for me. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, I'll try to direct you to the product. a link maybe in the description if I remember to do that. You can browse on Amazon for any kind of RGB light for the corners. You can find it. But yeah, small little thing you can do to brighten up your system if you have a display. You can lay them on the floor. You can hang them on the ceiling. You can hide them behind your curtains. You can put them up without the stands like I have in my other room. I'll show you my other room, actually. It's funny that these are on. I was turning them on in my other room, and these ones are on. So there you go. I can change these colors to whatever I want in here. You know. So anyways, so enough of that. I guess these the remote controls are a little bit... I don't know if it's RFID or if it's whatever, but if the lights are on both my rooms, that's going to be a little strange. And it seems like they do. They respond in both rooms. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I might need a quick switch or something in here for these. Anyhow, thanks for joining me for this one. I'll see you in the next video. If you haven't seen my Montreal Audio Fest 2025 coverage, part 1 and 2 are available on the channel. Please go check them out. And tune into all my friends and peers that are broadcasting and posting from Expona 2025. That event is going on right now, and I wish I was there. So anyways, I'll see you all in the future. Thanks for joining me. Take care.